Hi there, and welcome to 2019, and Happy New Year. And what does the new year mean for me? It means being lazy. As you can see, there isn't a big project or electronics video for this week. This week is an unscripted Q&A video, which you might be familiar with. I already did 3 versions of it, 3 installments of it, so you can watch those. This will be the 4th one. It's not what I originally planned as the first video for this year. I actually wanted to do a small review of my old videos from 2018, watching a couple of those and giving some interesting insights. But I asked my Patreon supporters what they would like to see, and they said, no thanks, we would love to have another Q&A video, which I will do right now. But someone on Patreon had a great idea. He said the Q&A videos feel more personal and interactive. Thank you. The recap videos are getting old fast. It would be neat to incorporate 2 or 3 of your top achievements, but not be the main focus of the video. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well, Christopher Bassett. I will do it just as you suggested. I will show my top 3 videos of 2018, and then we will do the usual Q&A stuff. But before doing any of that, I got this year. Sigland once again helped me with a giveaway. This is the Sigland SDM3055 digital multimeter. Here it is. Can you see it? Yes, you can. It's an awesome tool. It can do 5.5 digits, the usual stuff: DC voltage, AC voltage, DC current, AC current, capacity, frequency, continuity testing, and really important for me, because none of my other multimeters can do that, is the 4-wire resistance measurements, which it can do. I got it now for 2 months, I think. I've used it quite a bit. You can get more information about this tool on their website, which I will put on the screen right now, so you can visit it. There's a link in the description. Have a look at it. It's an awesome tool for an awesome price. And at the end of the video, you can win one of those. I got 4 to give away. 3 will be for my Patreon supporters, 1 for my YouTube viewers. And at the end, I will tell you what you have to do to enter this giveaway. And yeah, that's it for the giveaway part. I will talk about it at the end of the video. For now, let's continue with a fun fact before the top 3 video. Usually I have something interesting in the background of the video, like my LED matrix or something like that. But this time I actually found this little circuit here. You should see a closer image of it right now. It is a magnetic levitation circuit, which works quite well. You can get it commercially. I got it for a video production at the beginning of 2018. It was about the magnetic levitation circuit, as you might have already guessed. And this is a commercial solution I wanted to rebuild for a DIY or buy episode. So if that sounds interesting to you, then feel free to write it in the comments so I can see that I should produce it. And by the way, this whole video, this all unscripted Q&A stuff is all about getting feedback from you, new ideas from you, which I can incorporate in the video production. Of 2019. So feel free to write as much and anything you want in the comment section. I will read all the comments, and hopefully 2019 will be an awesome year for my video production. And hopefully it will be interesting. That's always my main focus. And you will learn something, hopefully. That's my other main focus. Okay, now we got the giveaway out of the way. You got the magnetic levitation circuit in the background, which you can look at if you're too bored with me. I don't even think it's in focus, so you have to concentrate really hard. And now let's continue with the top 3 videos of mine from 2018. So, as you might have already guessed it, I looked through the list what I produced in 2018. One video every week means quite a lot of videos, and I'm not even quite sure if I skipped a week in 2018. It was a really busy year, I would say. So let's just start with the number 3, which I determined beforehand, of course. The number 3 video is actually pretty recent. It is the solar battery charger LiPo lithium ion DIY or buy. I started this project 3 months or 2 months before its release. The release was in December the 9th, I think, so I started in September, I think. Yeah, September, October, somewhere along those lines. And I started with it because I wanted to do another MPPT video for solar panels. And I thought, okay, how can I incorporate a bit of MPPT and a bit of solar fun into a project? And then I realized that maybe it would be a good idea to create a circuit, a small circuit that you can use with practically any solar cell to charge up a battery. For me, it wasn't clear what kind of battery. I knew I didn't want it in another 12-volt lead acid one. I wanted something more modern, like LiPo or lithium ion, so you can use it for small portable solar projects. And that's just how it all started. Then the gears started rotating in my head, and one thing led to another. And in the end, I got this idea with these IC, which I found. I designed a custom circuit for that. And all of that good stuff. You actually saw the final version of the circuit in the video, but I think I did 1 or 2 versions of it, which didn't work out that well. Now this one works great, as you might have seen in the video. Yeah, and I think it's a versatile project. It's really useful. There are a couple of boards which can do that on the market, but I think this one really combines all the important features which you want to have for small solar projects. So I hope people will like it, rebuild it, and yeah, that's why it's the number 3 top video for me in 2018. And fun fact, I'm just watching the number right now. It's at 144,000 views, which I think is okay. My goal is always to be above the 100,000 views. Then I'm like, okay, the video turned out good. It doesn't need to be good to reach that number, but viewers liked it, I would say it like that. And the 144,000 is okay, but I would have liked more because this project took a lot of work. I thought it was very interesting. But then again, it's YouTube. The video before that was not well viewed from viewers. It was the true reactive apparent power video, which only got 55,000 views. And I actually think that was one of my best basics videos. But then again, viewers were not that interested in the subject, so it didn't get a lot of views. So the following video did not get recommended to viewers that much because of the YouTube algorithm and all that crazy stuff. So not that happy with the number because lots of effort, a lot of work, but then again it's YouTube. Lots of work doesn't mean anything. But yeah, that was just a small fact about the video. Let's just move on to the number 2, which is the peristaltic pump DIY or buy episode. For me, it was the perfect combination of electronics and mechanical engineering, however you want to call that, and also 3D printing. So for me, it was really fun to just get the original 3D models from, I'm not sure what the name of the creator was, but modifying his model, getting to know how to interact with it, and printing it, doing a couple of test prints, then getting everything to fit, combining it with a stepper motor and then driving that motor. It was a very complex subject, which then turned into a really good project, because I think the DIY pump was even cheaper than the buy version. So in this episode, DIY did win, which is quite rare. And that is why, for me, I think it deserved the number 2 spots of the best videos in 2018. And of course, that also means it's my favorite DIY or buy episode by now. Okay, that was the number 2. So let's move on to the number 1, which is the testing LCBs lithium ceramic batteries video. A very interesting video for me to produce. The company Prologium actually came to me and said, hey, we got this cool new battery technology. We want you to check it out. You can have it, you can do your own tests. We do not restrict you in any way. So there wasn't a script from them to promote the batteries at all. I did also not get paid to do this video. It was not sponsored in any way. It was just me being interested in the technology and sharing my experiences with it. And many viewers seem to have liked that. It got 623,000 views, which is not bad. And for me, it was just very interesting to see that you can actually cut a battery and hammer a nail in it and it still works. It's an awesome concept when you think about it. Of course, it's not positive completely. It also got some problems, disadvantages, like the low current output capabilities. But other than that, it's a promising technology for the future. And I hope Prologium comes to me once again maybe this year and says, we got another battery technology we want you to check out. I would love to do that. Basically anything new on the electronics market, I would love to check out. Recently with the e-paper module, which is not that new, but it's new for me, I would say. I haven't worked with it, so anything new that pops up, there's always a chance that I can do a small video about it. Those 10-minute nutshell videos, I would call them, or introduction videos to a technology or module or something like that. Okay, that was my number 1 video of 2018. Small recap, my top videos of 2018. Number 3 was the solar LiPo lithium-ion charger circuit. Number 2 was the peristaltic pump DIY or buy episode. And number 1 was the testing LCBs lithium ceramic batteries video. I hope there will be more exciting productions in 2019. I'm sure of it. If I put work into it, I will get some awesome results, I hope. We will see. For now, let's stop the video review and let's get over to the Patreon questions. And I got a few of them, 13 to be exact, I think. Yeah, should be. So let's start with Anton, which says, hey Scott, my question would be if by any chance you would take a look at KNX/EIB in the next year. Funny thing is, I never said those words in English, but in German I'm familiar with those. It's KNX or EIB. I will continue the question now. I know that this topic is quite popular in Germany, yes, for home automation. Personally, I would be very interested in the process of designing a custom KNX device to interface with an Arduino, etc. There are some projects out there which have achieved already quite a lot, but your 10-minute nutshell video would be a great addition. Greetings, Anton. Anton, very good question, suggestion, however you want to call that. Like I already said, all my friends are electricians. I hear KNX, EIB quite a bit when they are talking about what they're doing. For me, it's something new. I haven't worked with it, but I'm definitely interested. So I'm putting it on my to-do list and hopefully I will get to it in 2019. Okay, next question from Joe. Hi Scott, I'm always looking to improve my bench test gear, in particular DAQ with PC, MS-Win or OS X interfaces. Monitoring and recording voltage, current and temp, and offering a clean operator panel on the PC would be the goal. Cost is the challenge even for your used gear. The next option would be DIY, but good performance is mandatory. I would appreciate it if you could consider something along those lines. Regards, Joe. Thanks for the question, Joe. DAQ is data acquisition, I would say. Yeah, data acquisition. For me, something new, I would say. I always do my measurements with test gear, which is standalone, like the oscilloscope or a multimeter, something like that. DAQ, I think there are PC oscilloscopes and logic analyzers and spectrum analyzers and all those things. So I will consider it. I'm not quite sure how much of a video I can do with this. It sounds like more like a review for me again. I will have to look into it more carefully, but it's a possibility. I will definitely put it on my to-do list. Next question. David W. De Villers. Since I have dug out my old turntable, I have been wondering about phono preamp circuits. I would love to make one that has good audio performance and its own power supply. Anything like this would be great. Welcome to 2019 all. Happy New Year to you as well. The phono preamp circuits, as far as I know, those are used to amplify the output of a turntable to get it to voltage levels which are on par with ordinary audio devices like your MP3 player or your phone. So they are used for amplifying. I'm not quite sure whether they are used for modifying the audio waveform. I will have to look into that, but it sounds interesting. Maybe I will get a turntable, talk a bit about it, about the amplification, and then do a small DIY preamp circuit maybe. Definitely possible. I put it on my to-do list. Kostas Karanatsis asks, Hi Scott, I would like to ask in a Q&A if we have used any tools like PowerFix, Parkside, etc. And what's your opinion about that tool? If not, is there any chance for reviews about that cheap tools in 2019? Thanks in advance, Kostas. Good question. I have not used such tools. If you're not familiar with PowerFix or Parkside, me neither. But I know that there are low-cost brands for something like an angle grinder, or something like that. But when it comes to power tools, my choice is always something like Makita or DeWalt or something like that. Not the cheap stuff. I think I'm too happy with my good power tools. I don't want to try something like that out. And reviews for that, also no. Sorry, no. But still no, because it's not that much about... It is about electronic. Power tools are also electronics in a way. But I don't think it's interesting. I'm not a fan of such reviews, and I always like to produce something which I'm interested in, because that's the point when I think others would be interested in it as well. And power tools is just not my subject. So sorry about that. I think there are other channels who do that, so look out for them. Benjamin, as a long-time subscriber, I definitely like a Q&A. I know all your videos pretty well, so a rewind would just be redundant. Okay, not a question, but thanks for the feedback, and yes, I'm doing the Q&A. Next question, Alex Hare. Scott, I've been wondering for a while now how to build my own lithium battery discharge tester, and your video about it was really informative, but I want to test the output of LiPo cells up to 6S. The problem with that is that I need something to dissipate the insane amount of current, up to 500 amps. 500 amps, yo. Okay, that's a lot of current. I was planning on using a high power MOSFET for that, but they are rare and expensive. So instead I want to use a single high power MOSFET or an array of them to drop that power into resistance wire and then measure the input power to determine the voltage and current. I think it sounds fun. I think it sounds fun as well, but 500 amps, that's quite a lot. I hope that's not the nominal current of your battery. It sounds more like a surge current. But if you're in for that, sure, you can do that with a MOSFET. What I would recommend is putting a couple of high power resistors, maybe in series with the MOSFET, so you can spread out the heat more evenly between the MOSFETs and the resistors. But then again, with only MOSFETs, you would have a much lower voltage drop, like maybe 0 point something volts. And this way you can draw much more current. With the resistors though, you always got an ohm or 2 ohms, and that then equals a voltage drop, which is much higher than the MOSFET, so you can draw less current. So it's a push and pull. You have to see what you want to get for values and what you have to use. But what I would recommend is definitely checking out my constant load project, which I did a couple of weeks or months, I think, ago. It also got the basic principle with the MOSFETs. I'm not sure if I put resistors in series because I was not dissipating that much heat with the MOSFET, so it was okay. But have a look at that, use that maybe as a blueprint, as a starting point, and then add more precise measurements for the input power, the output power, and track the time so you can calculate the capacity of the battery. And I think that would be my advice. Look for the project and then improve it in a way that it suits your needs. Okay. Oknian Manship. Hi, something quite simple for an unscripted video. I don't do unscripted videos. Those Q&As are the only ones which are unscripted, because for me, I always try to produce the content I would like to see more often on YouTube, and scripted stuff is something I love to see, so I produce it as well. The fact for that is that if I would do something like that, I'm not sure what you want to say, but I will know it in a second. Unscripted wise, it would take around 30 minutes to do something simple, but if I would do a script for it, I could densely pack that in maybe 3 or 5 minutes, and you would get the same results, but I was not wasting your time that much, and I was entertaining you in a more professional way, I would say. So no unscripted videos for me. It was the intention of what I just said. In a nutshell, no unscripted videos from me. Okay, that's enough. I'd like to power up a 12-volt LED strip with a single 18650 lithium-ion battery. What I found so far is not practical for strips longer than 1 meter. As typical, 5 watt per meter gets close to the cell's max current offering. Can you explore affordable solution or completely rule out such a setup? With the setup, you mean with the single 18650? If your battery cannot handle it from its data sheet with the current output and voltage output, then there's really nothing you can do about it. You cannot add an electronic circuit to fix that. So in this case, you would have to rule out such a setup with the single cell. And the easiest solution in this case would be just either putting a couple of them in series, adding a BMS circuit to charge them up balanced and going that route, or using brand new cells and putting a couple of those in parallel. But I think I would go with the series connection with the BMS and then just stepping down the voltage. And I think you can even get battery packs for that, commercially ones, which are already assembled and have all the protection and charging features included. So I think that would be the easiest solution, which should be affordable. So look into that. Next question from Christopher Bassett. How do you really decide what processor to use? What are your overall plans for the channel in 2019? Any particular focus or new series? Good question. That question will take a bit longer than the other ones because I got a couple of ideas I want to share with you and get your feedback on. So yes, but let's start with how do you really decide what processor to use? With processor, you probably mean microcontroller. If it's a small, simple project, I always use the Arduino. The Arduino is popular, it's well supported and accessible, the easiest to access. So of course, for an electronics channel who wants to have viewers, which are not all engineers, it's important to be accessible. And that's why I chose the Arduino most of the time. But other than that, it depends on what you want to do. If I wanted to do an electronics or an IoT projects, I use the ESP32 or the ESP8266 or the WeMOS or something like that. But I was not in this situation so far that I needed another microcontroller than those two options. Like it's either the Arduino or the ESP. That's it most of the time. But then again, there are tons of microcontrollers, which I might check out in this year, maybe very soon. Not trying to spoil too much, but we will see. Okay, so what are your overall plans for the channel in 2019? Any particular focus or new series? I will continue what I was doing last year. That's definitely important. Right now I got one project which will definitely come out in January. I got another DIY or buy episode which I'm working on. I got another small video about a new technology which I would love to share. And I got another bigger project for the 1 million subscriber milestone, which I will show you right now because I would love to hear your feedback on it. So this is what I've been working on. It's a bit dusty, it's been sitting in the shelf for a bit. So it's a quadcopter or a drone, however you want to call it. This one was a request from lots of viewers for years now. And it's not a complete DIY solution, as you can see. The frame is bought, a lot of parts are 3D printed, so I would consider that DIY because I designed them as well. And yeah, it's not gonna be a DIY project, I would say. It's more like a beginner's guide project. So when I started finding parts for the drone, quadcopter, however you want to call it, it was quite complicated because the market is overflown with components, with tons of things you can get. There are different connectors, there are different protocols. It's quite confusing. So what I will try to do with the video is just giving a beginner's guide. Like, look, you want to build a drone on your own, a quadcopter, however you want to call it. And here is how you can do that. Like, you need those parts, you can assemble them this way, those parts work with those parts. You can use this transmitter with this receiver because it works in that way, but not this one with this one. This is the kind of video I want to make for the quadcopter, for the drone. And then of course incorporate software aspects, like you have to use this software, you can balance it out this way. So it will be a big tutorial which will talk about all the different components of such a drone, how they work on a simple level, not that detail, like the GPS, the ESC, the BLDC motors, what they can lift, how you can calculate that, what kind of battery you have to use, and all those in combination will be the tutorial in the end. Of course, it didn't fly yet, I didn't get to that. I hope it will, otherwise I will have a big problem. But yeah, that's a beginner's guide to drones, to quadcopters, will be the 1 million subscriber special. I hope that's fine with you. So many people ask for it. I hope I'm not disappointing too much by going with a bit more commercial routes. Because if you want to do a DIY quadcopter, there's the big question, where do you draw the line of DIY? Like, do I have to do the ESCs completely on my own to do a DIY drone? The motors, do I have to DIY them? The only thing which I would say makes sense to DIY in such a case is actually just the frame. The rest is just too complicated to just DIY a proper solution. And that's why I went with this route in the end. I hope it's fine with most of the viewers. I hope I just described it in a way that it makes sense, what I try to get across with this video. When it's done, it will take some time. I'm not even sure if it's gonna be a one video or a two-part video series or maybe 3 parts. I'm not that much into the production process. But another thing that I can share, which is quite interesting, is that those ESCs are very special ones because those use the FOC principle, the field-oriented control principle, which I did a video about a couple weeks ago, months ago, I'm not sure. Those are very efficient, and I will talk about them in the video because they also use a special communication protocol, which is USB CAN, I think, CAN bus. Maybe that can also be the focus of the video. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm figuring things out. I will see how it turn out, but I hope I got you a bit excited for the 1 million milestone video. And also because I will have to film this drone while it's in the air, I got a second drone. This one though is commercial. I got it a while ago. It was actually a present from JLC PCB, if you're familiar with them, because they visit me in Germany, and as a present they brought me a drone, which I was actually, I didn't know that. It was just at the time where I was searching for a drone by myself, so I could film this self-built one. And yeah, it's a DJI Mavic Air. I've flown it a couple of times. Works great. It will do the job just fine. And it's not the most expensive drone you can get. There are better ones. But I think for me, who will just use it for this video and maybe try to incorporate a bit more drone footage in other videos, it'll be just fine. But then again, have you tried getting it? Getting the drone in Germany is not the problem. The regulations for the drone is insane. It's Germany all over again with all their stuff they would like to regulate. It's ridiculous. Because if you build a drone on your own in Germany and want to get it off the ground and in the air, it's hell. There are so many regulations. I think you have to do something like a driver license for drones if you want to drive your homemade ones. For those commercial ones which are not that heavy, it's easier, but there's so many regulations. Look for it, Google it, you will have a good laugh. It's ridiculous. But then again, let's not talk about that anymore. Other than that, there are 3 or 4 videos already in production. One will come out definitely in January. Now you might be wondering, hey, why only 1 video in January? I said it on Patreon, I said it on Twitter, Facebook. Currently I want to take a small break, creatively I would say, because it's people who just watch the videos and are like, oh, 10-minute video that takes an hour to produce. No, it doesn't take an hour to produce. It takes 40 to 60 hours, something along those lines. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But the last month has been pretty stressful, so I don't want to push myself too much anymore, and producing 1 video per week. It's still my goal. I know people are waiting for it. I know the YouTube algorithm is waiting for me to mess up, to put my channel as low as possible, getting me as less views as possible. And that's why also something like Patreon is very important for me, because it gives me creative freedom, that I have more time to put into projects, so that I don't have to stress myself out, don't put that many mistakes in videos, because I think in the last 2 videos there were some not big mistakes but small mistakes, which I was very upset about of having them in there. I don't know what was wrong with me to put them in the video. Maybe it was stress, maybe the lack of time. And I would love to invest more time in videos and not stress me out so much, is what I'm basically trying to say. And I'm not sure if I can do this weekly schedule all the time anymore. I will see how things work out, but I will not force it anymore. Let's say it that way. So for me, it would be great if you consider supporting me on Patreon, so that I can actually afford this lifestyle of not forcing myself to create 1 video per week. Like I said it before a dozen of times, $1 donation per month on Patreon makes a huge difference for me. If just 1% of my subscribers would do something like that for me, I would have no problem financing my videos, and maybe even get an assistant to put a bit of workload from me, because lots of people still don't realize that. I see that in the emails and Facebook messages and all that. I'm still a one-man production. I'm this guy, me, does all the work, all the research, all the projects, all the soldering, all the editing, all the voiceovers, all the everything. And yeah, that takes time. So I'm gonna stop now. What I want to say is, maybe there will be 1 video every 2 weeks, but most of the time I will still try to do this 1 video per week thing. Yes. And the last thing about the production, DIY or buy. I know lots of people love this series. I will definitely continue it. It's not that hard to do actually, because there are a lot of commercial things which you can DIY, and of course finding out whether those DIYs are worth it is definitely interesting. So this series will continue. Electronics basics, I'm not that sure, because there was a time when lots of people enjoyed those videos. They were getting lots of views, lots of attention. But right now, with the more advanced topics I'm trying to bring to the viewers, many people are not that interested. And I think just the name electronic basics now sounds in the ear of the viewer like, oh, it's only gonna be theory or boring, I'll wait for the next video. And that's not something I want, I think. So I'm not sure about how I will continue the basic series. Maybe I will just not name them basics videos, maybe just giving them a catchy title like why you're drawing too much power from the power grid even though your load doesn't need it. The secret of reactive power, or something like that, because just such a catchy title always makes a bit of a difference. Of course, I don't want to get in the clickbait territory. That's something I definitely do not want. But I will have to see how the basics videos will continue. Other than that, there will be the usual kinds of videos, projects, most importantly. New technology, exploring videos whenever I get something interesting. Maybe even fix-it videos. I recently got one case where I thought, okay, might be a good idea. Not sure yet. We will see. But it will always be about electronics and having fun with it and building stuff. Creative stuff. Okay. And one last thing about the projects which I wanted to ask. Not sure if it's an interesting subject. Yes, those are books, and I know it's not interesting. Don't click away right away. Those are actually old books I got from a friend of mine whose relative was an electrician. They are German books. for example, mehrfarbige Messschaltung der Entschuldigung. I'm so much stuck in the English right now. Mehrfarbige Messschaltungen der Starkstromtechnik. Translated, multicolored measuring schematics of the high current technology. And those books are pretty old. This one is from 1952. And I thought it would be interesting to just have a look at a couple of those schematic diagrams and see how old electronics solved problems or measured things and how modern electronics do such things. Maybe it would be interesting as a kind of versus series, like old versus new, measuring things, or schematics which were used back in the days and modern equivalents. Let me know if that is something which sounds interesting, because I have a couple of those books. I'm not sure if there's a very good example in those which is perfect for such type of videos, but I would just love to know if the basic idea sounds interesting. Here we got some multicolored schematics as well. If you want to see, if you want to have an example, here is elektrische Widerstandsbremsung. Let's see if we can get it in focus. Yeah. I hope you can see that. That is an example of the pictures of the schematics in this book. There are a ton of those. There is a ton of those. It looks interesting from the start. And then you got maybe 1000 tips für den Amateurelektroniker, 1000 tips for the amateur electrician, yeah. And this one is from 1969. It also looks very interesting. Yeah, you get some really nicely drawn schematics in here. And then we got volume 2 of this book series. If that sounds interesting to you, let me know. If not, let me know. Okay. And with that being said, let's move on to the next question. Johan Grefkes asks, do you see any drawback to using a more advanced processor like VMOS D1 for projects that don't immediately need that sort of power/network connectivity? Yes, the drawback is support. For example, if you use Arduino, you can Google pretty much any question with Arduino, with the problem you're having, and you will probably find an answer. With the VMOS D1, I think it's much harder to find an answer for such. Okay, it's based on the ESP. The ESP is also pretty well supported, and there are lots of people who use it. But yeah, that's the only thing I would come up with as a drawback with the support. Other than that, you should be fine with the VMOS. Scott Cashman. I really enjoy the DIY or buy and the electronics basics videos. They are great for quick revision. Question: do you plan on making more of these types of videos this year? I already said it, DIY or buy, definitely there will be lots more. If you got good ideas, let me know in the comment section. And I'm actually producing a DIY or buy episode at the moment, so there will be one soon. And like I already said it before, the basics videos, it's a tough question. People don't seem to enjoy them at the moment as much as I would like them to enjoy it, as they used to enjoy it. And that is why I'm not sure how the future of those look like. Maybe I will fuse them with more practical examples and not call them basics videos anymore, because I would still love to teach people those basics. But then again, I would love to reach as many people as possible, so I have to make it attractive. And that's maybe why I should part with the name of the Electronic Basics series. But I'm not sure. Let me know your comments. Brett S. asked, please tell us about the most complex challenge you faced in being a maker on YouTube and in your field of electronics. I'd really love to know what you learned from the challenge. Thank you. In the field of being a maker on YouTube, biggest challenge is time management. Definitely. It's not even about finding a subject. I have tons of subjects to choose from. It's really just how you manage your time, how you get a video out every week, and staying relevant, I would say, is the big challenge. So that's definitely for being a maker on YouTube. And in the field of electronics, the biggest challenge was probably designing a proper Tesla coil circuit. My video about Tesla coils, it was a 3-part video series. It was fun to make, but it also was very challenging to make. So this was, I think, the biggest challenge. Once again, time was also a problem because I had to get it done in some way. Turned out the way it ended up was good. I was happy about it, but it was definitely a challenge. So those were the two biggest challenges. Last question from Pete Kelly. I'd like to hear about a way to determine the secondary of an unmarked transformer. I hook the primary up to my variac, 20 volts to 30 volts, and measure every combination of wires and create a truth table for the secondary. There has to be a better way. Is there a better way? Because I'm doing it in a similar way. If I have a transformer, I use a resistor in series to the primary side, and then I would use my function generator to apply a sinusoidal voltage, and then I would measure the secondary side and thus determine the windings to one another. So I would do it the same way. You could also think about measuring the resistance and the inductance, but I think that would not work out, I think. I would have to think about it a bit more, but from my first impression, I think measuring the resistance and inductance is not a proper way to do that. So I would definitely go with the way you just described. Maybe not the variac, but other than that, should work. Okay, and those were the questions, I think. One last question, which just came in from Gus Vandenberg. Maybe you should think of making a website and categorize your project so we can easily find what we're looking for. Keep the good work up. A very good idea. Not a new idea, I would say. I thought about creating my own website 1 or 2 years ago, I think, and the reason the idea you just described about categorizing my projects was actually one of the main reasons I actually wanted to create a website. The only problem is I don't have time to create a website with weekly videos. Now that I'm taking things a bit more slowly, I might have that time. I will see. But definitely a good idea. Maybe even incorporate a forum, so you got your projects and then you got maybe even suggestions. That's what I would love to see. Suggestions from viewers or other engineers who are like, he did it like that, but maybe you want to change that value and tweak those things so you get better results, because I'm not perfect. No one is. There can always be improvements for everything. And yeah, that would definitely be nice. But I cannot promise anything. I will have to see whether I can get the website done in 2019. We will see. And with that being said, thanks for the questions. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it wasn't too boring. And last but not least, let's get back to the giveaway. To the Siglant giveaway. I already described all the amazing features of this gadget at the beginning of the video. Now you might ask how you can enter. Pretty simple. The supporters on Patreon know how it works. There's a post on Patreon and you have to follow the guidelines, all that good stuff. You're familiar with that. 3 of those multimeters will be for those Patreon supporters, and one will be for all my YouTube viewers. And the way this works is you go over to the community tab on my YouTube channel, and there will be a small post, not sure what will be written there, maybe something like comment here to enter the giveaway. And all you have to do is comment there and you enter the giveaway. In a week I will then choose randomly a winner. There's no big question this time. Once again, just put your name under there, maybe write something nice, maybe even feedback for this video, maybe an idea, and everyone who commented there will be in the giveaway. With that being said, I hope 2019 will be an awesome year for my video production. I hope there will be lots of interesting projects, videos, which you will hopefully like. And yeah, that's it. Now there's only one thing left to say. Stay creative, and I will see you next time.